Hi guys, this is a video for the Mesh Curls Wreath, and I've done most of it to keep the video short, and I'm just going to be finishing it up to show you how the process works. So let me adjust the camera so you can see the wreath. So basically I've got pipe cleaners attached to the wreath here, and I like my wreaths really full, as you can see. So what I've done is on an 18-inch wreath frame, I've put 7 pipe cleaners in each section. So that makes the wreath really full and really dense. The pipe cleaners are from Dollar Tree, and these are the tinsel look ones. I will tell you that having used these and having used the soft ones, those are much better. They actually grip much better. I had these around, so I thought I would try them. They do slip and slide a little more. One way to help with that, as you can see, is when you wrap it around two of the rungs here and give it a few twists, make it nice and tight. It still slides, but it doesn't slide as easily as if it's just on the one. And the other thing I've done is cut up several different colors of mesh. This is Dollar Tree mesh. I have it in all different colors here, you'll see, or you can see that I've used. I've also used a little bit of Hobby Lobby mesh because I happen to have that on hand. So I've got several different colors, and I just kind of mix and match and put them wherever I think they look good. And then after the whole thing is done, I kind of step back, and if there's too much green in one area or another, then I'll make some changes. So let's get going. So with this section that I have left, again, I'm doing 7 ties. So with the first one, just wrap it around these 2, and then pull it as tight as you can and give it a few twists just to make sure it's secure. And then I do one at the top as well. Again, this is the 18-inch wreath frame. This one is actually from Walmart. Dollar Tree has a nice 14-inch wreath frame that works great as well. My customer just wanted something larger, so this is an 18-inch from Walmart, just a few dollars. And so I've got one on top, one on bottom, and then what I like to do is go over just inch and a half and put one in the middle 2 rungs, and then on the same distance, inch and a half-ish, and put 2 on the bottom 2 rungs here, and then back to another 2 on the middle, and then 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom, just like on the other side. Just a few turns, try to keep it in place a little bit. Once you're done with this, it's so full that they're not going to move very much. Okay, so I've got my 7 ties. You see I did top and bottom, and then in the middle of the section there are 2 on the middle 2 rungs and then 1 on the bottom. There's no magic about this. You just play around until you figure out what it is that works for you. You might need some up here. Again, when you're all done, you can step back and kind of look, fluff it up, and then look around for any gaps. So then in terms of the colors, what I've done is I use 3 at a time. And in terms of where to place it, I just kind of judge based on, where I like for it to be. I like there to be silver, at the top and the bottom, red, green, kind of all throughout. So most recently I did silver here up at the top, so that's a good opportunity for silver at the bottom. So you just get these are 9-inch strips of mesh. I just cut those here with a cutter. You can also just use scissors, and you're just going to roll that up. It's not perfect. This stuff can be a little unwieldy and difficult to work with, so it's going to be imperfect, and that's just kind of the appeal of the wreath, is it's just really fluffy and kind of wild. So, all right, we've got silver, and let's do red. And I just kind of pinch this and hold it while I'm rolling. Again, it's not going to be perfect, so don't worry about it looking just right. I've used probably about 10 rolls of the Dollar Tree mesh. The Hobby Lobby mesh is twice as long, so you would only need 5 of those. All right, so then I've just got my little 3 here, just kind of pinch that together. Again, nothing perfectionistic, and put it in between the 2 ties and pull it nice and tight. And again, just give it a couple of twists. And just kind of move that out of the way. And now you've got this top spot, so you choose from your colors again. I'm going to do this green and a white. And let's put some red up top. All right, so then you're just working your way along. See, I've got my 2 bunches here, and you just keep moving right along. So bunches of 3. You can do 2 if you want it less full. You can do 4 if you want it fuller. I find that 3 is about the maximum in terms of the number that I can comfortably work with. So that's the number I've settled on. And then sometimes I'll rotate the bunch. Once you have them in, you can move them around and kind of make them, make the colors go on each side, kind of twist them around, move them a little bit. But there's a pretty prominent silver right here. So I'll just put this silver toward the top in the other direction, just so there's not a pile of one color in a particular area. So I'm just kind of mixing and matching whatever I think will work. Again, the beauty of this style of wreath with the mesh curls is that it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's far from it. But that is the appeal. I sold several of these for fall, and then I've sold one of these for Christmas, and then just had this order. So it's a very different style. A lot of what I do is working with burlap and the full-size deco mesh, and then during Christmas season I'm doing a lot of work with pine and also some grapevine wreaths throughout the year. So this is just another style to have. For those of you who sell, it's just great to give your customers a lot of choices. It's really interesting to see who likes what. I've found that I will take things to shows thinking that, oh, this is going to be great, this is going to really sell, and then something else sells that I just totally wasn't expecting. It's a blessing either way, but it's always just interesting to me what people like, and people's styles and tastes are so different. So again, just got my 3 little pieces here, pinch it up, looks kind of like a butterfly, and then just pop that in. Twist it around. right, so a couple more here, and then we've got this last section, and then we're done. We'll do the little finishing touches. So just rolling up that mesh. This again is the 6-inch deco mesh from Dollar Tree primarily, and then I do have one roll from Hobby Lobby that I had already opened, so I'm working that in. I've learned with the Dollar Tree mesh that when they first put the Christmas items out in November, it's best to buy up as much as you can, especially for these wreaths. They use so much, but the Dollar Tree mesh, at least here where I am in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, they were gone very quickly. So, and they will get new shipments in and things like that. So there's, another batch that may come in. But again, if you're a seller, then you can't necessarily wait. And I like to do a lot of this stuff with Dollar Tree because it keeps my overhead low, and then that means that my prices stay lower for my customers. Doesn't always work that way, and they don't always have everything I need, but they're really stepping up their game in terms of the different things that they carry. It's really hard to work with a Band-Aid on your hand, especially when you've got your hands all deep in this stuff and lots of edges for it to get snagged on. So you can see it's getting kind of tight. This mesh is very forgiving, so I will just kind of, I call it mad dog it, so just kind of really, press it out so I can see, what pieces I have left. And make sure not to miss any, because then it takes away from the fullness. Let's do, you can see I have two different kinds of white here, so they're different enough that it makes for a different look. You just grab whatever suits your fancy. I'm anxious to see what colors of this mesh Dollar Tree gets in for spring, and see what kind of wreaths we can make with that. I imagine they'll have some bright colors that'll be really pretty for spring. As I said, I did some of these for fall this year, and those went over well. You can see the items that I've done on my Facebook page, and that is facebook.com/loveletters-by-Jennifer. Again, facebook.com/loveletters-by-Jennifer. That site started out as making wood block letters to spell different words or with initials and things like that. And it's just expanded. I've moved on to wreaths and centerpieces, door swags, all sorts of different decor and other items. So it's just a matter of whatever looks good or looks fun. I think I'll give it a try. really tighten that in there so it doesn't slide around. Again, just kind of press that down and move it out of your way. This wreath, these mesh curl wreaths like this are really simple. It's not super complicated or, a particular way you have to put the curls in. It's just kind of almost haphazard in a way. Some of the other styles are more complicated, but this is one of the easier styles of wreath. The issue is just that it is very time consuming because you're cutting up the 10 rolls of mesh. Again, for the 18-inch, it was 10 rolls of mesh to get started, and then curling or rolling each piece. So these are just 9-inch strips that are cut, and they have a natural tendency to curl and roll. So you can see I've got my stack here, and they want to curl and they want to roll. So they'll do that naturally for you, and then you're just making it a little tighter. Let's see. I think these would also be cute for Valentine's Day. Maybe white, red, and silver. And then Dollar Tree does some really cute things with the mesh. You can see, like with this green one, it's got the strips in it of color. They have a white here that has silver strips in it. And then there's a white that has red. So the striped ones are fun. I haven't seen those really much of anywhere else. So kind of a neat thing that Dollar Tree does with theirs. Just a couple more here, and then we'll do those finishing touches. When I posted this originally on one of the Dollar Tree craft sites, the DIY site, I had a lot of people asking about the bow that I ended up putting on it at the end, and that bow was made with Pro Bow the hand. I resisted buying one of those for a long time because they're a little pricey, not unreasonable, and definitely worth it, I've come to find out. But I resisted buying one for a while and just did it on my own, just made my bows myself. And I find that it's particularly useful for keeping the bows nice and neat, but also with some of the bigger projects, it's just really difficult to manage holding that in your hand. All that ribbon and keeping it twisted and everything to make it just right. So it really helps out with the larger projects. Definitely worth it. All right, 2 more. Let's finish out with these green ones I have. Again, we're not trying to be perfectionistic. Other wreaths, burlap, some of the meshes aren't necessarily as forgiving, or the materials aren't so forgiving, so you have to be a little more meticulous about it. But this mesh, this 6-inch mesh, is wonderfully forgiving and great to work with. As I said, this is not a complicated wreath, it's just time consuming with all the cutting and so forth. But if you're like me, you just turn on Netflix and binge watch while you're doing all your cutting and crafting. All right, we're going to squeeze one more in here. You will find after you work with this stuff for a while on a project, it will start to rub and can cause some sensitive areas in your skin. I don't know if you can see this, but it's kind of red just from rubbing on here so much. So that is all. And then let's move this out of the way. Generally, I just pick it up and take a look at it from a distance, try to like just kind of fluff it up. Again, I like mine big and poofy, so I want it to kind of stand out. And then taking a look at it from a distance, you know, you're looking for, is there a spot where there's a predominance of one color? Because there's so much mesh on here, there's not really a spot like that. It's pretty evenly distributed. And sometimes if I've had where there's not enough, like let's say there was a big spot where there wasn't any green, you know, you can move these around a little. Or you can just untwist and add a piece of green. So that one would have 4 in it, not a big deal, but that way you get that color that you're looking for. Versus taking the whole thing apart, you know, out of that tie and having to start over. Again, nothing perfectionistic about this one. Just trying to distribute that color. So the finishing touch is to get your wire snips. This is a handy dandy pair my husband got me at Harbor Freight, and they work beautifully. So what you're going to do is just go through each one and make sure you've twisted it 3 or 4 times, and then you're just going to get your wire snips and snip really close to the edge, or to the tie rather, and then you have a couple of pieces left. So I've tried using a half of a pipe cleaner, and to me it just gets too difficult because my wreaths are really dense, so I'm really trying to wedge in there and grab a hold of this little tie. So I just use the full tie. What I will do is I'll save these pieces, and I have used them on other projects. So if I've needed to secure something small, I just keep them in a little container and find uses for them. So basically we're going around and trimming all of these off. This is also a time-consuming piece. Some people actually like to leave the ties on and, you know, have the wreaths have that extra layer of dimension. I feel like it's just an unfinished look, so I always clip mine. Just a matter of personal preference. So we just go all the way around and clip all of these off. So when you're done, then you have really nice, colorful, big wreath. So I started out with that 18-inch wreath frame. And let's take a look here and see how wide that ended up being with all the mesh. So at the outermost edges here, you're looking at 24 inches. So my mat here is 24 inches. You can see it covers the distance or the length of the mat essentially. So an 18-inch wreath frame, add about 6 inches for this kind of mesh, this 6-inch mesh, and you've got the width of 24 inches. So a 2-foot wide wreath, and it looks great on the front door. Some people hang them in their house above the fireplace or just on a wall, decorating the kitchen, wherever you like. So I'm just going to finish this up with cutting these all off, and you guys get the idea. So basically now you can see this section, I've cut them off, and it's just, you know, these, it's a nice finished look to me. Like I said, some people like to leave these on, and that can make it kind of fun and funky as well. So whatever your personal preference is. And if you look closely, you'll see there are a lot of strings, So it's very messy, if you will, unruly maybe. And so what I'll do is I'll hang it on the wall as I'm staging it to take pictures. I'll hang it on the door on the wreath hook, and just kind of pull off the ones that are really obvious, you know, or really hanging long or hanging low. And then the rest of them I just leave on there. So again, that's part of the appeal with this particular wreath. But this is what you're looking for. Lots of colors, lots of shine and shimmer, really catches the light nicely. And so then this is the section where everything is clipped. What I'll do is finish clipping all of these, and then I'll go get my Pro Bow, make a nice big bow on here, and then it will be ready for my customer tomorrow. So if you go on my Facebook page again, facebook.com/lovelettersbyjennifer, you can see the original one of these that I did, finished with the bow and everything. And then in the next few days, I'll have this one up that we just did here tonight. So they're going to be the same, but it'll just give you an idea of how it looks when it's a finished product. So thanks for watching, and good luck. If you guys have any questions, just reach out to me through my Facebook page. Happy to try and help.